He's published dozens of articles and dozens more reviews of books and recordings in all the major piano journals, and he's produced almost 90 transcriptions that have been performed around the world. He just told me last night that he'd gotten an email this week from Point Loma saying that they had performed 2 of his works this week. On a different note, Walden has always been good with any sort of firearm. Guns, rifles, shotguns. So 10 years ago, when he had bilateral retinal detachments that left him permanently blind in one eye and with serious sight problems in the other, he didn't know whether he'd ever be able to shoot again or read music again. But he taught himself how to do both, and once again, he can outshoot 99% of people at the shooting range. Now, Walden is known for his good judgment. People like to have him on committees around here because of it. But he doesn't always show best judgment. He used to like to walk at night, and a few years ago, one night, he went to an ATM at midnight, something which I would not have done. He didn't notice anything wrong until a gentleman came out of the shadows with a knife and demanded all his money. Walden then did what few of us have the opportunity, the courage, or the presence of mind to do. Without moving, he looked at the man and asked politely, "You brought a knife to a gunfight?" The other gentleman left in a big hurry. Walden has always been most devoted to his students. He's been an early adopter of technology to assist in his teaching. In the early 1990s, before Microsoft even came out with Windows, Walden published an article entitled "The Pianist and the Internet." And that was a long time before most of us had even thought of logging on. And he told me this morning when I asked him about this, he said, "Yeah, I had to do that in MS-DOS." Somewhat reminiscent of Leon Fleischer, the great pianist who had a several-decade lull in the middle of his career because of wrist problems, Walden has started recording and playing again later in life, and many of his recordings are now posted on YouTube, and you can go look at them. Well, listen to them, actually, both. Walden has demonstrated in his life persistence and tenacity in the face of daunting obstacles. When prevented from pursuing one academic path, he would carve out a new one for himself in a completely different arena. From piano performance to teaching to scholarly research to composition and transcription. And I think Walden is greatly deserving of the recognition he's receiving today.
Well, thank you, Marlon. That was beautiful. In fact, that was the most beautiful obituary I think I've ever heard in my life. The only problem is it was long, so that cut into my response time. But there is one story I should tell you. Many of you here know that the Fine Arts Building started its life as Samaritan Hospital. And some of you know that I was born in Samaritan Hospital. And in fact, I'm actually wondering with some alumni here today if any of you were born in Samaritan Hospital. Well, we've got some. I know you were. That's my father. He was born in Samaritan Hospital. Well, here's the story. One day I was minding my own business, as usual, and a couple of old nurses came in the building. And they were so old. Actually, I'm sorry, Mother, you actually knew those nurses, didn't you? They... Okay, so they weren't that old. But I figured they were old enough to probably remember where the maternity ward was. So I asked them, and they pointed back towards my office. So I was shocked. And I called my father and I said, "You know, I just found out today that I was born in my office." And you know what my father said to me? This was naughty. He said, well, I guess you haven't come very far in life, have you? Well, I guess he was right. I really haven't come very far in life. But after chapel, I think I'll take this plaque over and hang it up in the maternity ward.